Chapter 4. Traditional Ceremonies. It is the day of the wedding. Family and friends come together for the ceremony. There are lots of different ceremonies, of course, but some things happen all over the world. In a traditional Western wedding, the groom, the families, and all the other guests come to the church first and wait there for the bride. The groom doesn't usually see the bride on the morning of the wedding or the night before, because it is bad luck. The bride and her bridesmaids arrive at the church together, often in a big, expensive car. Then some music begins to play, and the bride walks slowly into the church with her father. In the ceremony, the father gives the bride to the groom, and the bride leaves her family and makes a new family with the groom. The wedding officiant asks the man, "Do you take this woman to be your wife?" He answers, "I do." The officiant then asks the woman, "Do you take this man to be your husband?" And she answers, "I do." In many ceremonies around the world, the couple drink from the same cup. In China, the bride and groom drink wine from special cups. Then they give the cups to each other and drink again. In Bulgaria and Russia, the couple drink 3 times from the same glass. And in France, they have wine from a very beautiful cup, a coupe de mariage. This special cup stays in the family for many years. In Japan, the bride and groom have a drink called sake. The groom drinks first, then the bride, and then the parents of the couple drink too. Because the bride and groom are beginning a new life together, in many countries, someone ties the couple together. In a Hindu ceremony, a white thread goes around the couple 5 times. In Cambodia, every guest carefully ties a thread around the couple's hands. And in Thailand, 2 white threads go between the heads of the bride and groom. The Hopi people of Arizona, in the USA, cut some hair from the bride and some from the groom. They then tie the hair together, and the couple are married. In many countries, rings are a very important part of the ceremony. Sometimes only the bride gets a ring, and sometimes the bride and the groom have a wedding ring. But, of course, rings aren't a new thing. Thousands of years ago, Egyptian grooms gave a ring to their brides. And the Romans had wedding rings too. In some traditional ceremonies, the man or the woman breaks something. At a Jewish wedding, the groom breaks a glass with his foot. This brings good luck. In Bulgaria, the bride quickly throws a plate to the ground. When the plate breaks, it gives the couple good luck too. In many countries, the bride and groom write their names in a special book, and the witnesses write their names too. In a Muslim wedding, the bride and groom put their names on a special paper called the nikah namah. In a Western wedding, the couple write their names in the special book near the end of the ceremony. Then music plays, and the newly married husband and wife leave the ceremony together with their friends and families. Chapter 5. The Reception. After the ceremony, people love a good party. This is often called a reception. In Mexico and Italy, it sometimes goes on all night. And in Russia, it can go on for 2 days. A traditional wedding in Morocco goes on for a lot longer, perhaps a week. Special food is usually an important part of the reception. In China and Japan, red food is popular because red is a lucky colour. But the most important food in many countries is a wedding cake. A Western wedding cake is usually white, with flowers and a little bride and groom on it. Sometimes the couple put one part of the cake in a box for later. They eat it a year after their wedding, or when they have a baby. In France, couples have a croquembouche. This is made from a lot of little cakes, and it can be 1 meter high. In other countries, there is special wedding bread. In the Ukraine, it is called a korovai. 7 women make this bread in the home of the bride. It has 2 little birds on it, one for the bride and one for the groom, and the sun, flowers, and animals. People often take photographs of the bride and the groom when they cut the beautiful cake or bread. It is an important part of the wedding. At some time in the wedding reception, somebody makes a speech. They stand up and talk to everyone. In a Western wedding, the best man and the groom usually speak, but sometimes the bride speaks too. They talk about the bride and groom and say thank you to the couple's family and friends. At the end, they ask for good luck for the bride and groom in their new life. At a Japanese wedding, some guests make speeches too. They speak about the happy couple, and everyone laughs a lot. After the speeches at a Russian wedding, the guests all throw their glasses on the ground. This brings good luck to the new husband and wife. At the reception, there is usually a lot of music and dancing. Often, the bride and groom have the first dance, and then the other guests begin to dance too. Sometimes, there are very famous dances with traditional music. In Greece and Bulgaria, people dance in a big circle at weddings. This is very popular at Jewish receptions too. In part of this dance, the bride and groom sit on chairs, and the other guests carry them around the room. Often, before the bride leaves the reception, she throws her wonderful flowers to all the other young women at the party. When one woman gets the bouquet in her hands, she is going to be the next bride, people say. Chapter 6. Money. Weddings can cost a lot of money. A traditional wedding in the UK costs between £15,000 and £25,000. The most expensive thing is usually the reception, about 21% of the cost. And next is the honeymoon, the bride and groom's holiday, at 18%. The bride's dress, shoes, hair, and other things cost about 8%. Who pays for the wedding? Usually, the bride's parents do this. But sometimes, the couple pay for some or all of the wedding. In Italy, the bride carries a small bag, and guests put money into it. This money helps to pay for the wedding. In Poland, young men put money on the bride's dress at the reception, and then she dances with them. People put money on the couple in Greece and turkey too. The money pays for part of the honeymoon or for nice things in their new life together. A tradition in Hungary and Portugal is to leave money in the bride's shoe. Someone carries the shoe around to all the guests, and they put money in it for the couple. In some countries, the groom gives money as a present. In China, the groom gives money in red envelopes to the bride's friends on the day of the wedding, because he is taking her away from her friends. Later, the bride gives tea to everyone in the groom's family, and they give her red envelopes with money in them. In Spain, Mexico, and some other countries, the groom gives the bride 13 gold coins, called arras, at the end of the wedding ceremony. The groom often brings the coins in an expensive arras box. He gives them to the bride one at a time. Now all of his things are her things too. As we saw earlier, in many countries, the groom gives money to the bride's family when the couple get engaged. People can give this money, the bride price, at the time of the wedding too. But it is not only money. The bride price can be gold, animals, clothes, and food. This happens today in countries like Pakistan and Uganda. At a Muslim wedding, the groom must pay some money called meher to the bride. You can pay a little money for a wedding or a lot of money, but you can pay millions and millions of dollars too. The two sons of the rich Indian man Subrata Roy got married in 2004 in Lucknow, in the north of India. More than 10,000 guests came to the wedding. Mr. Roy brought 100 people from the UK to play music at the wedding, and 1,800 people made the food. There was Indian, Chinese, Italian, and Lebanese food. And it was a happy day for 101 couples without very much money in Lucknow. Mr. Roy paid for a big wedding for them and gave them wedding presents of beds, TVs, and gold rings. He gave food to 140,000 people in different parts of India too. What did it all cost? Nobody knows. But the answer is between $30 million and $70 million, people say.